So an odd thing happened this week when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd. He was asked directly whether or not he would consider Saudi Arabia an ally of Canada, and he said bluntly, "Nope, I wouldn't say that. They're simply a country we do business with."
Is Saudi Arabia an ally to Canada?
No, I wouldn't say it. They're a country we do business with. They're a country that we continually advocate for greater transparency, greater human rights, protection of women, of activists.
Now, it's pretty odd for the Prime Minister to give such a blunt and strong answer, to be honest, to really any question. And really, any politician is usually not the type to give such strong and blunt answers. Now, he said, they're a country we do business with, and we advocate for greater transparency, protection of human rights, and that type of thing. So that was his quote, but I thought I would explore with everybody here what was the business that he was talking about. So what business do we have with Saudi Arabia, and why have things gotten so bad they would say they're not an ally? And, you can think of it as maybe colloquially an ally, so like a friendly country. I don't know if a lot of people would say an ally is in having an actual alliance or some, formal alliance, maybe like NATO or something like this. But where did we get to, and how did we get to this place where we are at? So really, the main thing started in probably 2018 when the Saudis arrested two bloggers, Raif Badawi and her sister Samar Badawi. They are human rights activists, and so they had been advocating in Saudi Arabia, and they were arrested. Now, Canada called for their release, and the Saudis basically said, "You're interfering in our domestic affairs," and they took great offense. Now, normally, a lot of times a country will, protest another country's actions, issue a statement, maybe condemning them. But the Saudis went pretty far on this one. They actually pulled their ambassador from Ottawa, and they our ambassador to Saudi Arabia, persona non grata, so they gave him 48 hours to leave the country. They also suspended all trade except for oil, and they froze all flights from the Saudi national airline to Toronto and canceled scholarships for thousands of Saudi students. Now, that's sort of on the Saudi end, but the other business that is going on, the main business, aside from some trade, there's some agricultural trade that goes on, but the main business that it seems the Prime Minister was referring to was the sale of LAV-3s. This is a wheeled military vehicle. They're used in Afghanistan by the Canadian military. And so we're selling these LAV-3s to Saudi Arabia, and the idea is that a number of human rights organizations have accused Canada of enabling Saudi Arabia to conduct a war in Yemen. Now, the war in Yemen is a really underreported story, I think. There's not that much with regard to it in the Canadian media. It's something maybe for another video, but long story short, in a nutshell, you can think of it in many ways as a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran being conducted in Yemen. So that is sort of where we're at and the business that he's talking about. But I think another sort of unusual thing, and I guess this really speaks to where we have come to in our dispute with Saudi Arabia, is that to say it so bluntly, and the Prime Minister really is not the type, you just listen to his statements, he's really not the type to give these strong, blunt answers. He might, elaborate on something or say, well, it's complicated. You can, for example, take the way he was speaking about China when they asked him whether or not that's a genocide in China. He, did not give the strongest answer. He spoke around, well, kind of this and that. So this is quite unusual. But Saudi Arabia has an interesting place in the current international order. Now, they're one of the world's largest oil exporters. In terms of oil producers, America was largest in 2020, followed by Saudi Arabia. Canada was actually fourth, so we were pretty high up there, but they had basically double our oil output. So they're an important country economically, but they're also an important country in terms of, again, the global order, because the way that our systems are structured, we still rely on oil, and being a large oil exporter, that gives them a lot of sway politically, internationally. They're a very large member in the Arab League, in OPEC, and so they have a lot of sway in international organizations. And again, it's quite interesting that he would say that. Now, I'm not sure whether or not Canada is going to ultimately prevent the arms sales from going through, so preventing those LAVs from going through. It looks like we're just going to sell them because, according to the government, they say that we have no choice because the Saudis could sue for all that money. Now, again, it really depends on what you think. The Omar Khadr issue maybe sounded the same. Well, we got to give him all this money or else he could sue for the same or more money. So it's hard to tell what is really true and what's not. A lot of the details of that deal are secret. But that's sort of where we are at, and I think it's really interesting to follow what this story is going to bring. Again, we have the Jamal Khashoggi thing overhanging. He was murdered in a Saudi embassy in Turkey, and right now there's a report in the United States basically implicating the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. So everything is really active in the Middle East, and I know that it doesn't necessarily always seem like there's much for Canada to be involved with in the Middle East, but there's actually quite a lot going on, and a lot that does affect Canada. And I hope that you'll stay with us and with me as I try and explore and unpack some of these issues with you. So for True North, I am Sam Eskenasi. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.